I'm Rob Shields, and this is Peace Talks, the podcast that covers everything to do with competitive jigsaw puzzling. The 2025 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship took place over 7 days in Valladolid, Spain. When beacon of the puzzling community, E.B. Caron and I decided to follow up with a couple of past guests, we thought we'd be able to string together a few short interviews into a single wrap-up episode. Unfortunately, short interview is something we are apparently not capable of. So, rather than giving you one 5-hour episode, we're releasing many of our conversations as their own episodes as fast as I can put them together. I hope you enjoy. Joining us, as is becoming tradition, is two-time German national champion and 2025 European champion, Kathi Reiner. Welcome back, Kathi.
Hi, good to be back.
It's good to have you back. Last year when you joined us, you had finished 7th in teams, 5th in individuals, and 2nd in pairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, after that, it sounded like maybe you're going to take some rest. Where did you go from there? And have you been training for Worlds since then?
I think last year afterwards I did feel the need to get some rest. Almost until 2025. I didn't do many speed puzzles, just some EJJs every now and then. And then the German nationals happened and I practiced for like a week before. But that's a pattern that actually, before major competitions, I almost all the time don't train for longer periods, but only very intense weeks before. But in the like from March on, I had finished my bachelor's degree, so I had free time for half the year because I took a semester off, and then I did a lot of puzzles, which you could consider training.
Tell us about that. Yeah, before I remember from when we talked to you last year, you told us about how you only had about like a 2-week period of intense
Mhm,
training, but that you
mhm.
were very thoughtful about things like how you would set the table up, where your pieces would go, and the puzzle. So, what are some takeaways from your training or puzzling in the past year that you've applied?
I think there are two main things. The first is I changed how I see the edges. Last year I didn't even sort them. Like I always just kept them in the big pile and only looked at what is like the image. And now I do sort the edge up front, but I don't build it. Like I still only use the image, but it does help a lot having the edge sorted out because if you pull the pieces for a section that connects to the edge, you would still start with the edge because it just gives you anchors and it's just an easy way to start. So that's what I implemented. Um, it was an advice from my teammates because I was at a 24-hour marathon in France, and we were discussing the strategies we would do because we were like 7 people and always 4 at the table at the same time. So we needed to like have some strategies that would work for everyone. So I had to agree on sorting the edges. And after that, I tried it for individuals, and it really gave me I would say 2 minutes boost for every puzzle I did. So
Wow. And is that primarily because you're removing clutter from the rest of the puzzle pieces, or where does that extra boost come from?
I think it is because even if I had gone only by the image, when I had pulled the pieces for that color, for example, I would have still sorted the edge than when I did like this section. But it is way harder to like separate the edges from the inner pieces when they are not on the back. Like if you're still seeing the blue side of the Ravensburger puzzles, for example, it's so much easier to see the shape than
Mm.
when they are all flipped.
So you're using the fact that something like half the pieces are upside down to get a better read on
Yeah.
where the edges are?
Yes, exactly.
Fascinating. Well, I wasn't expecting to learn something quite this fast into our discussion, but that was amazing.
What was your other takeaway?
The other thing is I got into shape work a lot more. I think it kind of started subconsciously even before Europeans, but at Europeans I was thinking, "Oh, this is a different brand. I haven't practiced with that at all. I think this is going to be like a big drawback that I don't know the shapes of the pieces. And then I tried to just like look at the three top rows of pieces of an assembled puzzle of the trefoil ones because they all have the same cut. And it worked out so well in the finals. I did remember like a bunch of pieces here and there. And then I thought, okay, this is gotta be something I have to intensify. Yeah, and then I just like draw the cut of the whole pattern of the 500 Ramsburger puzzles and like studied the patterns that I already knew because some of the pieces are very specific and unique. And then I just tried to remember where they are in the puzzle.
Do you have like a favorite or a top three that you're like, oh, hello, little friend?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which ones are they?
This is gonna be very hard to describe. Um, like they connect to the edge. With Ravensburg, it's a bit difficult because they are not always oriented the same way. It could be on the bottom or the top.
Hmm.
But it's three outs, and then directly next to it, there's a three ins, and one is pretty big, and the other one is like very curved. Only and yeah, beside that. And then there's like a few more pieces that connect to that that are also very recognizable. So yeah, this is the area. When I see it, I know it, and it's also in the thousands.
Ah.
So everybody go bust out your favorite 500-piece Ravensburger, see if you can find Kathi's favorite pieces.
I feel like you should have people like post their own pictures and tag you and you say like you found them.
So you drew out the cut for the entire 500-piece puzzle. That
Mhm.
seems like a pretty big endeavor.
Yeah, it took some time, but I've been traveling a lot in the last months. So I spent a lot of time on the train, and I thought, yeah, I can use that time and spend time with like cut studies. Why not?
So what were your expectations coming into this year's World? Given all of your training, your experience last year?
This year was the first year that I was not afraid of failing because I was so like kind of confident that I could like win it or like perform really well, and also not like I could like I wasn't afraid I could fail because I knew no matter what the result is going to be, I still know that I'm a good puzzler. So that was kind of the feeling with what I went into Worlds. I thought everything is possible. I could win because I wanted Europeans, like which was out of my expectations back then. But at the same time, even if I don't win, like I know it's gonna be totally okay for me.
It turns out you did really well. You were the only person to finish in the top 3 of all events.
That's cool.
You finished first in 5 out of 8 of the events that you were in. I wonder if you can walk us through the journey that you had while at World.
So as I said, I arrived and my mentals were pretty chill, and I thought, yeah, everything's gonna be cool. And for the first individual round, I didn't really prepare mentally because I was so chill and thought, yeah, it's gonna be easy. um, and then when I was in the competition, I wasn't like my mentals weren't ready for the stress and pressure that was still there because I hadn't focused before. And then I chose the wrong puzzle. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was pretty sick during the whole time at World, so that was also a factor that influenced my first individual round. So this whole prelim went pretty bad, I would say. And that was the first experience this year. And I thought, oh, something has to change if I want this to be a good thing. And then I took some time to like really focus on the competition and also like just as I did at Europeans, mentally prepare and don't let the doubts get too big after the relatively bad performance in the preliminary round. Yeah, and then I went into the semifinal and I was very confident that I would get back into the zone, because I had a totally different preparation before.
So tell us about what that preparation looks like. Would you go back and tell yourself to do before your prelim round?
I think first of all, being conscious about this being a tough competition and trying to get the best out of yourself. And then, secondly, still not putting too much importance in this whole thing so that you still don't get like on the other side of the extreme, like being afraid to fail again. Like, this is the
Mhm.
finding the golden middle of the whole thing. Um,
Mhm.
and I like specifically, I called my sister, who has been at Worlds with me the year before, and also like accompanying my whole puzzle journey, to just talk to her about how I felt during the preliminary round, and yeah, just reflected about the whole thing. And I think just that, like, that both competitions were on the same day made it pretty hard because I didn't have too much time to, like, not let this whole thing affect me too much. Yeah, and I also like, I sat by the river, and it was, just some time by myself.
And when you say both competitions, you mean the individuals round D and then the first semifinals?
Yes, exactly.
There were a couple of instances where there was sort of a one round right on top of the next round that you would qualify into.
Mm.
Was that a problem in your perspective, or was that just kind of the way things work?
It was different, and I think, like, it has both positive and negative aspects.
Hmm.
Like, it's positive because, the first preliminary round, like, I didn't take this with me the whole week until the next individual round happened. It was over, like, this memory was
Mhm.
banned by the semifinal immediately, but also at the same time, like, I feel like it's more fun if the competitions are a bit more mixed, because that way I had one individual day, then I had one pairs day, then I had one teams day, and then I had the finals day. And in the last years and also at Europeans, it was a bit more mixed, and you have different categories and on the same day. That was just a bit more fun.
Can you remind me which puzzle you chose in the first round that was haunting you throughout it?
I chose Excalibur,
Ah, yeah.
and the other one was, I think it's called Astrology.
The circle puzzle.
Yeah, and I chose Excalibur because I did it at German nationals, so I thought, "Oh, I have done it already, so I can, like, take the advantage of that." But then I couldn't stop thinking about it was a teams competition at German nationals, and we didn't really feel well, during that puzzle back then. I don't know if the memory really came back or if I thought it would come back, and then, yeah, I just couldn't stop thinking about how I felt, during the nationals, and then my brain was too much, it took too much space, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You just ended up having some chatter in your head you didn't need.
Yeah.
And so you sort of reset, you came back. There was a new unreleased puzzle, the Eiffel Tower puzzle. Tell me about that. Like, what did you think of that puzzle, and how was your experience different than the first round?
I think, like, the experience was totally different because it was as it was supposed to be, mentally. Like, I was completely in the zone. I didn't think of everything else but the pieces and the puzzle and the colors and me doing this puzzle. And I had a lot of fun. It was great. I loved the puzzle. I took it out of the bag, and we had the 60 seconds to, like, cut the stickers and watch the image a bit. And I felt like this was a puzzle that suits me because it has very distinct color blocks and also a lot of shape work required, which I had practiced. So I thought, yeah, it's gonna be good. And I was mainly happy that it was a super busy puzzle.
You were able to use your little piece friends as anchors for what
Mhm,
I saw a
mhm,
lot of
mhm.
people doing some sorting here.
Yeah, like, my piece friends were actually in the very white corner, which was the hardest one, so it was great that I knew
Oh, that's
them.
perfect.
Yeah.
How did your journey proceed from there? You struggled a little bit on the first puzzle. You regained your stride, your confidence on the second puzzle. Then how'd your week go?
The next day I had the pairs competitions, like the prelim and the semifinal, and I remember that we just had a lot of fun doing the puzzles, but also didn't expect to do so well because Kiara and I know that we are not like our strength is not the 500s, but the 1,000.
Mm.
So we always try to just get through the preliminary round without too much mental damage, I would say. And then like put the best on the table with the 1,000-piece puzzle. I was shaking so much when we had the last pieces on the semifinal because the adrenaline was so high because I didn't expect to be so close to finishing before anybody else had finished. And it's actually crazy that that I noticed the difference between individuals and pairs so much now. Like in individuals, it's like my brain is used to that, like no one has finished and I'm close to the end. But in pairs, it's still a bit different.
Your brain just hasn't become used to you guys doing well in pairs.
Well, like, it is used to doing well in general in pairs,
Mhm.
but with this specific competition and the 500 and at Worlds with so many good other pairs, I didn't expect to, like, win the semifinal.
And you had Ella and Inga right on your heels
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
It was 15 seconds to them, and then I think 3 seconds for Tira and Tobias, and then you had the folks from Slovakia 11 seconds behind. So it
yeah,
definitely was anybody's game there for a minute.
yes. I remember this, like, being, like, the 4 top pairs being extremely close.
Where did you go from there?
The next day was the team's preliminary. And I felt so bad this day. I was so sick. I didn't sleep the night pretty much because I was coughing all the time. And during the teams puzzling, I just tried to survive, honestly. It is so bad. Um, after we were finished, I went straight back to my hotel room and laid down and went back to bed. And I stayed there for the rest of the day, which was pretty important because the next day was the day of the finals. So, in hindsight, I'm glad that this happened on Friday, not on Saturday. But yeah, I still would have wanted to like hang out with my friends and use that free day to like do some fun puzzling or yeah. But in the evening, we still had dinner together and we did a fun puzzle. We all only used our left hand. Like this, that was great because um, we didn't had to give into the temptation of doing this for speed, but only like used our left hands and just had fun and were laughing about everything and like you know moving a section from where you assemble it to the place where it actually belongs is so hard if you only have one hand and then you have to do it with another person together. It's so hard. It was so much fun. It was the perfect evening before the finals because it was so focused on like we're just having fun together as friends doing a puzzle, which is the roots of why we love puzzles.
So last year you told us that your like key reset was going to this gym in Valladolid and lifting. I'm guessing that with the heat and with being sick, you might not have gotten to do that again this year.
Yeah, I had planned to do it again, but then I was so sick that I thought I really have to save my energy and not go there. But yeah, I was a bit sad that I couldn't go.
All right, so on to finals.
The Paris was the first. I didn't have lunch that day. That was stupid because in the last 5 minutes of the Paris final, the heat was so extreme. So I really felt like I was about to pass out. So I think we could have been faster, um, but it was still a great experience. And we didn't feel bad at all. Like, we were very happy that we could, like, retain the vice, champion title, and the puzzle itself, it was revealed before. It was a pretty big discussion, like, within the community, how this could have happened at all because I don't know if we talked about that, but it was also the case last year. the team's final puzzle with the jungle was revealed or leaked before, and we were all very angry and sad and disappointed that it had happened again. But we were like the decision, like Ramsburger, the global Instagram posted it also in their story, so everyone had the same chances, and that was like the way we went with it, like sharing it with everyone so that it is as fair as still possible.
Hmm.
But still, like, I don't like the fact that puzzles are being leaked before the competition. It was the same case at Europeans. It just it's so stressful because you think you need to spend every second watching the image and looking at it and studying all the details. And every like second you do not look at the image, you feel bad because you think maybe this minute now that I'm like off the puzzle will cost us a place in the end. Like it's just super stressful and we don't want it. Like, that's the whole sense of unreleased puzzles, that you take it out of the bag and see it for the first time.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, and I really hope it won't happen again. Like, it has like, this was the 3rd time it had happened, and now I really hope that the organizers and the manufacturers, like, know about it now and
It's a really interesting point I hadn't considered, which is that having the puzzle released requires your attention. To me, I
Mhm.
thought is like, okay, well, it's an opportunity you could take, but as a competitor, you really you're making a trade-off to give that attention or not. Yeah. And
Yeah,
whereas if it hadn't been released, there's not much more you could have prepared, right? You're ready
yeah.
for the thing, but now that everybody has access to much more detailed information, you've got to pay attention to that. So did you and Kiara do anything special with respect to that
Oh,
image?
yeah, actually, now I remember that we had a call before the finals. Like, we were both in our hotel rooms, very lazily laying in our beds, but we wanted to go through some points that we had discussed about the semifinal. Like, we rewatched the stream to still have some major takeaways, like with piece management and stuff.
Mm,
And in that call, we also looked at the image a bit and decided on like we mainly just talked about what we see and what are possibilities, and not had a specific strategy planned out because Kiara did it also at Europeans in the individual puzzle only, but she said that it completely took away her intuition while doing the puzzle. So
interesting.
we very much tried to prevent that from happening and, like, only talk about what we see and what is on the puzzle, but not talk about, like, we are gonna do this, and after that, this, and, like, step by step, we already know what we do. Like,
Mhm.
go with the flow, and, like, we still try to maybe look at the image as an image and not as a puzzle.
That's really interesting because I think a lot of puzzlers, one of the things like we struggle with is like looking at the image, but not like actually taking it in or like remembering the details, but actually putting it into words and like talking it
Mhm.
through with a pairs partner, puts those details on the image into words and then, helps them get into your
Yeah.
brain.
I think that's also what was a big factor at Europeans, that we talked about the image. It's not only that everyone studied it individually and kept their thoughts to themselves, but we all talked about it and shared what we were seeing. And, like, I saw things that others didn't see and vice versa. Um, so in hindsight, that was also a fun part, but I still would have preferred it the other way.
Did anything surprise you when you saw the actual puzzle?
Yeah, I think I couldn't see like this colorful banner saying speed puzzling as well as I had imagined, because I thought it would stand out so much. Because it's so different colors, and you would think this is the first thing everybody sees, but it was so hard to, like, in the pieces actually tell what it is. Yeah, that was surprising.
I think you mentioned this, but I want to be real clear. You guys ended up second in the finals there,
Mhm,
just behind Veronica Huptus and Anna Kazana, 37 seconds behind. So it's
mhm.
another place where, anytime you're in tens of seconds, it's anybody's game, right? Any slight bit of change could have meant
Yeah.
that roles were reversed. So you guys were basically there at the same time.
I think that's something I've learned during the last year, that sometimes it's not about like who is the best, but who has the best conditions in that specific competition. And that's also something that took the pressure off a little bit for me, because I know, like, it's not that I have performed badly, maybe it's just bad circumstances or not my puzzle or whatever reason it might be. It's not that I have done something wrong or anything. It's just like it's not that day for me. And I think that's a pretty uh, good thought to like be a bit more calm about the whole situation.
Yeah, especially when you get into few seconds differences, like that literally is how pieces fall out of the box, right? That is
Yeah,
literally like a distraction that somebody next to you makes that draws your attention. Like those sorts of things can feel so consequential. It's easy to just say, "Oh gosh, I could have made up 5 seconds somewhere." But,
yeah,
it's the end result is that you were so close to that other, in this case pairs, in skill level on this day, that any number of random small things could have made a difference. I love that you're expansive thinking this year, where you're like, I already know that I'm a great puzzler. I don't need this event to prove it.
yeah,
I'm really trying to do my best job here, but there are lots of reasons that may not result in a win. It feels like your mental journey has continued pretty substantially.
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about how you brought that mindset into the individual finals.
Yeah, like after the pairs final, I ate something, um, and then
It's not just mental, it's also physical.
yeah,
Physical preparation too.
um, and then like I sat down and I applied the strategies that I had worked out with my therapist before, like for competition situations, and I just wrote down like my successes, my skills, what I want, like beyond that whole puzzle world, what are like traits that I have apart from puzzles, like, focusing on both the competition but also myself. And then I had a call with my best friend, and he just I said to him like, just hype me up, like just tell me that I will win it and that I'm great and that it's gonna be great. And yeah, I think this time I really just tried to get back to believing in myself and like remembering the Europeans. I had some clips from the Europeans when I won, and I just watched them and thought, yes, I can do it. I can do it. Um, and I was just very hyped for the finals and thought, let's go. And then I thought it would start at 7, but it actually started like quarter to 7, I think. So I was late for the finals. I was still sitting by the tree. There was a tree that was called the German tree because it was where the German association gathered all the time. And I was sitting there and just waiting, and I thought, "No, I'm not gonna go inside. It's too early. Like, it's only gonna stress me out if I'm in there and sitting there for 10 minutes." And then my girlfriend was coming outside and like, "Where are you? Everybody's sitting already. It's starting in a minute. What are you doing?" I was like, "Huh? I thought it starts in 15 minutes." It was so stressful, and then I ran inside, and you can actually see it in the live stream that I'm, like, one of the last persons to arrive, and just giving Victor a quick hug to tell him good luck and that, like, I wish him all the best, and then running to my table and, I need to get out my tray, I need to get out my box stand, everything is so hectic. Um, yeah, that was
Oh no, did that undo all the like positive preparation you
yeah,
had done
you would
or
you would think so, but, luckily it was I could blend that out pretty well, and I just yeah.
Hmm. I actually wonder if it was kind of helpful because you could blame any stress that you were feeling on like being
Yeah,
late, not on like fear about performance. And so like if you have and like you could blame your racing heart on like having to actually
yeah,
run to sit
maybe,
down.
but I think it's actually good to have the racing heart. That's because I think that was missing in the preliminary round, that I didn't have enough adrenaline,
Mm, mhm.
and so I think
Mhm. Could go either way. Extra adrenaline boost.
In that moment, it didn't, like, affect me negatively, but, funnily, I just dreamt last night about being late in a puzzle competition. It still haunts me.
So
Yeah.
what did you think of that puzzle? It's I forget what it's like Puzzle Community, I think is
Puzzle
the name of the
Community, yeah.
puzzle. Yeah, and it's got a lot of black and a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
You're gonna hear my honest thoughts. Like, I didn't like the image.
No?
Um, First of all, like, whenever it's an unreleased puzzle in a puzzle competition, I love it. I don't care if it's pretty or not. Just give us unreleased puzzles. But I think for a puzzle that is called Puzzle Community, it could be so more friendly and colorful. And like this one, it's so black. It has so thick lines between like the people that like there are only very small color blocks and the rest is just black and white dots on it. And it's depressing looking at it and knowing what a puzzle community puzzle could be. Like, I hope that it's like not coming across the wrong way, but it's just like you would have expected a more colorful and fun puzzle, and it's just yeah, it was still fun doing it, but I think it would have been with any puzzle in the final of the World Championship. In this atmosphere, it would have been fun with every puzzle. Um, yeah, but it wasn't my favorite.
It didn't encapsulate the joy that you expected from the name of the puzzle.
Yeah,
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 I could see
uh,
that. It is very black. Do you recall coming down to the close of this? Because probably a minute out before the first person would have finished. Not that you necessarily knew that. You were getting right there to the end. There were no applauses.
mm.
How did you feel?
I think this is something I will take away from this Worlds for the next competition. First, if I don't explicitly hear a loud applause, there is none. Because I was thinking, like, I could hear the crowd murmuring and getting
Uh-huh.
louder, and I thought someone has finished. Like, it was maybe 10 minutes before I was done. I thought, oh my God, everyone is done. I'm so bad with this puzzle. Ah,
But
but,
you
like,
had
I didn't.
headphones on this whole time. Were you listening to
Yes.
something?
Yeah, I was listening to the iconic Catchy Puzzles puzzle playlist. Um, but like I also did in all of the other rounds, and I hear the applause through my headphones,
Mm-hmm.
but I still like I felt so bad, like I felt so slow with the puzzle that I thought like not possible that with this noise no one is finished. Um, yeah, and then I thought, I am slow, the others are faster, and I think this is something I will take away, like for the next year to just even if I feel slow, I can still like push it. And as we saw, like it was not much of a difference. So just keep believing in myself, even if I feel slow.
So you felt like the fact that you were feeling slow and that you assumed somebody must have, given the kind of murmuring you had heard, that somebody must have
Hmm.
finished, that sapped some of your speed.
Yeah, I think so. But then when I actually heard the big applause, it sped me up again because I thought, "Oh, I'm so close! I'm so close! I can do it!" And it was very much fun. Like this last minute, um, I was a bit afraid of that moment because I didn't know how I would feel if I actually lose
Mm-hmm.
this match. I didn't know how I would feel about it, but when I heard the applause, I was just happy and still finished my puzzle. And then I didn't feel any bad feelings when I was done. It was just like it was great. I was happy. I was happy for the others. I was happy for myself. I had fun, and yeah, that's also what I felt most happy about Europeans. That I just didn't care about like not performing well or just like I was just happy with how it went.
When you heard the first applause, I was rewatching the live stream, and
Mhm.
I noticed that you sort of smile and nod to
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Was there something specific going on in your head?
I think it was that I'm it doesn't affect me negatively that I heard that applause. I'm so happy doing this puzzle. I have 0 bad feelings, and I will just continue doing this without thinking I failed or thinking I'm, like, the worst puzzler everyone has ever seen.
So your head nod was like, "Oh yeah, this is actually fine."
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
realizing that I was mentally stable enough to, like, not care, that was the smile.
Did you have any idea who might have won?
No, no. There's no way to tell whether it comes from the right or the left side.
Mhm,
I think I assumed it was Victor, but, especially because when I was done, he was also done. So
mhm.
I ran over to him and asked him if he had won, and then he told me, "No, it was Veronica."
You're behind Victor only by 5 seconds.
Mm,
And given how I feel like you guys have definitely become teammates, I feel like, and I might be wrong here, that you guys have become good friends.
yes, we
Um,
are.
there was a moment that where he finished and you were just right there. That was amazing to watch. And then you both get up and run almost full speed towards each other
Yeah.
to hug. Is one of my all-time favorites moments
Mm.
of puzzling
I'm
because
having goosebumps now
yeah,
that you're
me
yeah.
too. Yeah, it was so great. It was to
Mm.
me it represented a lot of what puzzling is all
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
If I can say, like, maybe that's what puzzle community should look like. Or a puzzle called puzzle
Yeah.
community.
I think it's so beautiful that these moments are captured. Um, Also, Europeans in the preliminary round, it was the same case. Like, he ran over at my table immediately when he'd finished, and we were hugging, and like it was captured on with a camera on photos. And I really like that I have things to look at to remember this moment, and it encapsulates the friendship of like not only specifically to Victor, but also like the whole puzzle community friends I have.
What a ride with that, like, it sounds like you had a real low point, and
Mhm.
then by the end, you were, like, back there, back in a good
Yeah.
spot. And yeah, I just always appreciate when we talk to you, Kati, and like also when I listen to you being interviewed on live streams, how open you are with your kind of mental process and your growth in terms of your approach to
Mm.
puzzling and like the like
Mhm.
emotions tied up in it.
Thank you. I was also pretty happy, like, that some people at Worlds told me that, like, how I talk about puzzling and my mental work with it really helps them, and dealing with the emotions and stuff. So, yeah, that was very beautiful.
Thank you for sharing on this podcast kind of your process and what's going through your head, but also like all those interviews too along the way, I think. And also in your stories too, your
Mm.
Instagram stories, I think that was what I really loved hearing about from you most last year, and
Mhm.
it's definitely a theme. So, transition here. In the last year since we've talked, you've started sharing another aspect of your
Mhm.
identity with the puzzling community. And it definitely seems like it's a part of you that you're proud of and also like very
Yeah,
intentional about
yeah.
sharing. So, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend now, and so I'm queer, and I really, um this whole idea of sharing it, or maybe I have to start differently because I didn't even know that I was queer last year at Worlds, and like I had this kind of feeling within me all the time, and I told my best friend when I came back from Worlds last year, maybe next year I'm gonna wear a pride flag. Yeah, then I started dating my girlfriend, and it became a more realistic idea to do that. And I didn't like consider hiding it at all. because it is such a big part of who I am, and like so much things about me make so much more sense now that I know that, and I just feel kind of completed in myself knowing that now. And I know how I see others representing the queer community, and I know how I feel when I see it. So it was no question for me to be open about it. And also, like, it was a journey for me to be actually proud of it and, um, yeah, accept it because as I said, it's like it's been a long time that I kinda knew it subconsciously and it was deep down somewhere buried in myself. But yeah, I think, like, actually having a girlfriend and talking to her about this topic helped me so much that because she is so open about that and, like, taught me to like, that it's not a bad thing or not a thing to be ashamed of, but something to be proud of. And I'm very thankful that I, learned that from her and that I can be so proud now about it and just be open about it and share it with the world. And then I made the idea real and brought the pride flag to Europeans for the first time, which was, I think, harder than if it had been Worlds because it was in Hungary,
Mm.
and it was, exactly at the time when the Budapest Pride, was banned. It was just a few days later. So, actually, till today, I don't know what the organizers thought about it or what, like, people there thought about because, like, a lot of Hungarian competitors were there, and I don't know what they thought about it. And I had, I had some doubts in the back of my mind about it, and also that there were some bad comments that, like, made me doubt a little bit. But I'm very thankful that my team was there and said, "No, you're gonna do it. It's important to you. It's important to us. We want to have the flag there, and you're just gonna regret it if you don't bring it." So, yeah, they really supported me and encouraged me to do it, and, I'm very happy that I did because afterwards, I only got, like, super, loving comments and messages, and everybody was very happy about it and thanked me for it, for the representation and stuff. So it was the best thing I could have done, and I'm very happy, and, um, I didn't doubt a second at Worlds to bring it on stage. And also I had, a little waving, like, small, flag.
Yeah.
I got it from
Mhm.
Nate and Mark from France, that I also know from the 24-hour marathon, and we were all waving it when we were done and just, yeah, representing the community a bit.
Yeah. Well, I've loved seeing that part of you in the past year and happy that you're so happy
Mhm.
together.
All right. On an entirely different note, I'm told, Kathi, that maybe you've got some stats you want to share with us.
Yes, it's just a few, but I do have some.
You're in a safe space for that.
First of all, I think something that is very impressive is like Victor's record in the preliminary round. 22 minutes is crazy. Like, even if we all know the postcard and he has done it several times, 22 minutes is still crazy. Like, I have never done 22 minutes on a 500 piece puzzle. It's really something to like admire. And also, that's why his average time is only 30 minutes and 44 seconds on all the puzzles he did, which is 5 minutes faster than the second fastest average time,
Wow. Who was the second fastest average time?
Veronica.
Yeah. All right.
And then you might remember the score I did last year, which is like building a relative time, dividing the participants' time by the average time in that round.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a better idea of how the distribution is. And also, it kind of eliminates the difficulty of the puzzle because it only compares the competitors to each other. So we can also combine that for the semifinal and final because, like, that way the semifinals are comparable
Mm-hmm.
as long as we assume that the groups of the semifinals are of similar strength,
Yep.
which I think we can. And then we have this, like, score on the unreleased puzzles. And in that ranking, I would have been first and Victor would have been second. Alejandro would have been third, and Veronica would have been fourth.
This is in comparing your finishing to the average finisher?
Yes,
Okay.
in that specific round on the semifinal and final.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, as we had some new categories at Worlds this year, me and some friends talked about other fun categories that could be implemented, and one was best improvement.
Oh, yeah.
So I looked at the scores from last year's finalists compared to this year's finalists. Again, this relative time to the average time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that is not very surprising if we look at the results. The best improvement is by Anna Kazana, Veronica's pairs partner, because I remember also at Europeans, she was like maybe 40th or 50th place. I don't want to say something wrong, but not at all on the radar for the top 10. And at Worlds, she actually performed so well. And she has by far the biggest improvement compared to her last year's result.
She was at Worlds last
Yes,
year?
she was.
Same last
Yeah,
name?
yeah. Same name.
Did she make it to the finals last year?
Yes, apparently.
She was 123rd. Yeah,
Hmm.
she was a quiet force. Like if you haven't seen Anna and Veronica, like Veronica's a quiet woman who, you know, she's very reserved. You watch her do puzzling and it doesn't look like anything in particular is happening except it's the fastest in the world.
Mm.
And then you've got Anna as well, who's like a small, quiet woman. And I feel like it's the amount of power that is in that small pair of women
Mm-hmm.
just blows my mind. Like seeing them both come out and just destroy the competition. It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, we definitely underestimated
Mm-hmm.
Anna.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to circle back to what you were talking about Victor's individual round B, because I think there's a couple of things that are fun to talk about there. Like when that puzzle was revealed, the whole room became a buzz, right? Because everybody
Mm.
is like, "Oh, well, we all know
Yeah.
that puzzle." And I didn't ever count, but I think I only ever saw 5 people doing the other puzzle because you get 2 puzzles, you choose one. Everybody chose the postcard puzzle because I think everybody was like, "Well, I've done it, and if I don't do it,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be slower.
Yeah.
So I need to do that one." So it was a fast round.
I can tell you the average time of that round. The average time is 59 minutes. The others are around 1 hour and 10.
Wow.
What is especially striking, and I think that you have this in your data, Kathi, is that if you look at the individual rounds, the as you were saying, the average compared to the winner
Mm.
time difference.
Mm.
In one way, you could look at Victor's 22 minutes and be like, okay, well, it was a fast puzzle, and it was. But Victor, in other rounds, you'll have a different number because I did a similar sort of approach. In other rounds, the winner was about 1.7, 1.8 times faster than the middleist
Yeah.
person. Victor was 2.5
Yeah.
times faster
Yeah.
than the middleist
Yeah.
person. So even on an extremely fast puzzle that everybody knows,
It's
he
insane.
crushed it in a way that is out of this
Yeah.
world. That's all.
I have
Just got
nothing
really
to add to that.
excited.
How much do you think people were practicing the 2025 Ravensburger catalog puzzles
Oh,
this year?
yeah. I think we were all expecting them. And I don't know what I would have like. To be honest, the puzzle choice in the preliminary rounds was pretty disappointing as well because we saw puzzles that have been used at Worlds before, and also puzzles that are just like you don't want to do them. And I think there are so many pretty puzzles that you could present at the world stage, and also like I don't think it makes much sense for Ravensburger to like reuse old puzzles. It really just felt like they were emptying their warehouse. I don't know. I could like it's how we all felt about it, and I don't know if I would have been like happier with just the 2025 catalog puzzles because it was also would have also been very kind of boring because we all
Mhm.
practiced it. So just give us unreleased puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, the US does that. I think Canada did this last time around. So it's definitely feasible. Like you end up doing a lot more standard art sort of things, like, photographs
Yeah,
that people can get
and that's
relatively
fine.
cheaply.
As I said earlier, just give us unreleased and we don't care about the image. At least for me.
Yeah. I do think it makes it harder when you introduce the into individuals and pairs, the get to pick one, because now you've got two more puzzles to source for
Mm.
every round that you're going to include that in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird move. I wonder if it'll
True.
ever happen again.
Yeah.
The 2025 like special twists that goes
No one
down
needs
in puzzle
that.
history.
So you were with Kati, am I taking it you were not a fan of the have
No,
to
no, no,
select one?
no, no.
No.
I
Why
wasn't
not?
before, and after I did so, like, crappy stuff in the individual prelim, I don't even like it anymore. Like, nah. Like, I don't wanna choose. I'm so bad at judging if the puzzle is easy or hard. Just give me the puzzle, like, the same puzzles everyone else get, and I don't have to think about it. Like, it added so much thinking and, like, as I said before, like, I need my brain capacity for only assembling the pieces and not thinking about the choice that I made. So,
Mm.
just no. There's also, like, EJJ, I don't know the name, Double Trouble, where you have to choose. I didn't buy them anymore because no, I'm done with it.
Keeping in line with the difference between the winner and in the case that I did, the middleist player, I did the same things for pairs and teams. And so one of the things that is worth noting is that in pairs we had 4 rounds of preliminary heats, and Kati, you and Chiara were won the first
Mhm.
round. Then we had Gabi and Alejandro Gago in the second round from Spain, Veronica and Anna in the third round, and then Natalia and Victor in the fourth round, and they finished that puzzle in 18 minutes 45 seconds, which is speeding along,
Mm.
but also is a very similar ratio between the middleest person and them. So if we look at the next fastest team, which was in pairs B with Gabi and Alejandro Gago, they finished about 2 times as fast as the middleest person. In round D, Natalia and Victor finished 2.5 times as fast as the middleest person, which is way farther than the
Yep.
other competition. So again, Victor and obviously Natalia as well, not just doing well, but doing extraordinarily well compared to what the other rounds were.
Yep. I think Victor has a very, very great memory of having done a puzzle before and then learning extremely from, like, what can I do differently to improve again, and strategies for every single puzzle. He's, like, thinking so much about how he does the puzzles that he really improves insanely from doing it several times.
I put a lot of thinking into stuff. He puts a lot of thinking into
Mm.
stuff. I do not have the memory retention, so it all falls right back out the other side. The fact that he has all the memory of the puzzles that he's done and the ability to execute on them is one of the many things that I think sets him apart as an extraordinary puzzler.
Oh, I have a stat. I went back and listened to our Worlds recap from last year, Kati,
Mhm.
and you said that, well, we asked you about Germans to look out for, and you were like,
Oh, yeah.
there aren't really. But, and actually you said, like, I don't think, like, we'll see many Germans in the top 30 next year.
Did I say next year?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
I looked at the
Ooh.
top 30. Guess what country
Oopsie.
had the most players in the top 30?
Yeah.
Germany.
I completely take this statement back. I have never said it. Um, and luckily it is recorded publicly in the internet.
There's no record of it. Nobody will know.
No, I would not say it again, obviously. Even before going into Worlds this year, I was pretty sure that we would see many strong Germans. Like, the German puzzle community uh, increased even more since last year, and I know very strong and fast puzzlers now.
Yeah, I wasn't even counting Chiara as German. And there are
True.
still 5 in the top 30. If you just look at the top 10, Poland is on top, but you go down to 30.
Yeah, any idea what's going on in Germany that's driving this excellence?
I think it's Ravensburger and Germany being a puzzle country, maybe somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And B, I think that many people saw like my performance at Worlds 2023 and also last year. And I was on some TV shows and radio shows and stuff. So I think it became spread and became more of a thing that, like, if you're interested in puzzles, I think you at this point get to know about speed puzzling as well. And also, we have the association that is doing great work organizing different kinds of like meetups and competitions and smaller things. So I think there really is some work put into the German community, and that's also why we are represented. Like I think in absolute numbers, very strongly at Wells, and then it also comes naturally that we are represented in the top spots as well.
Yeah, never count the Germans out is I feel like is a thing that we always have to keep in mind. And it was great. I did a trying to keep track of the fastest puzzle each year done by teams, pairs, and individuals just to see like are we getting faster? Because one of the recurring themes I heard is that like a world class person would come up to me and say, I am 10 minutes faster than I was last year, and everybody else is at least that fast, much faster. So the
Mm,
entire field
yeah.
progressed. And so I wanted to kind of get a sense of that. So I looked at, for example, the fastest single puzzle done at Worlds by a team. And that includes qualification rounds, which obviously those are going to be puzzles that have been previously exposed. But it increases every year. So in 2019, we have the Czech Dragons, so they finished their fastest puzzle world landmarks in 44 minutes 41 seconds in 2019. In 2020, it was Alejandro Clemente Leon's team Nonstop finished in 43:55, so a little bit faster. The next year was the Misfits with Sarah Schuler, Michaela Keener, Karen Cavett, and who's the other person? Oh, it was Evie Karen. That's right. At 34 minutes. So we went from 43 minutes to 34 minutes, 59 seconds. The next year in 2024, it was the Czech Puzzle Queens with Teresa Kapnikova, Marketa Frejlova, Katerina Klinkova, and Jana Andruskova at 34 minutes. And then this year, that 34 minutes and 21 seconds was beaten 14 times throughout the course of this competition by 12 different teams.
Wow.
The Puzzle Queens did it twice. They beat it twice. And Fast Four from Germany beat it twice. And just to give you a sense of how that unfolds, in round A of the teams qualifiers, the Euro Jigsaw Jacks, which Kathi is your team for those
Mhm.
folks who don't know, broke last year's record with a fast time on the Sunset in Amsterdam puzzle of 30 minutes and 32 seconds. But then the very next round, the Aussie All Stars came in on Coastal Cottage and finished that in 29 minutes and 7 seconds. And then in round D, the Czech Puzzle Queens, who, like I said, were holders of last year's record, crushed it with 27 minutes, 27 seconds on the Garden Allotment puzzle. To me, it's fascinating to see this progression over time. You can see in the data that folks are getting faster, and that holds not just for teams, but it definitely holds for individuals, where every year things have gotten faster and faster. In fact, one might remember last year's record was set by Kathi Reiner at 26 minutes and 39 seconds, only to be broken this year by Victor at 22 minutes and 2 seconds. The one that hasn't progressed as much is the pairs. So we had 2019, there was a finish at 34:34. In 2020, it was 20 minutes and 17 seconds. And then we don't actually break that record again until this year.
Mhm.
To me, it's all fascinating watching the whole sport progress.
Also, I think it's interesting, like, with the unreleased puzzle, or at least looking at the final puzzle, we have slower top time than last year. And that is something I do want to say I like about the puzzle community puzzle. It was a challenge. Like, it was not a
Mm-hmm.
super easy puzzle, and I think that's appropriate for the final. I think because you mentioned Diana Ondrushkova,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Like, she was very good in her first participation in 2019, our first world champion. And then last year, I don't remember her placement, but it for sure wasn't top 10. And now she was so good back at fourth place again. And I'm really interested in her story. Like, what happened there? Did she like feel this kind of wave and coming back again? Or is it just like that she,
Mm.
I don't know, it was like maybe not her puzzle last year? I would be so interested in like how that is.
Me too. I've told Rob we need a Czech Puzzle Queens
Oh,
episode.
yes.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's
Yeah.
on my list. I have so many people I need to talk to after Worlds that we're going to need I don't know, another year's worth of time just to be able to talk to them. But she was, yeah, Yana was 32nd last year in individuals, and I was doing the same thing. I was watching her and I was like, she is doing amazing this year.
Mm.
And I was cheering for her because, you know, she's a past winner, and I think, you know, because she was a pre-COVID winner that we don't tend to think about it as much.
Mm.
She isn't really quite into the cusp of sort of modern competitive puzzling, which I think of as post-COVID.
Yeah, we don't even have video of those competitions, right?
Right? Yeah. So I was really thrilled to see that she was doing so well. And of course the Czech puzzle queens in general always doing well.
I was also very happy that at the prize ceremony, Charlie said that she was the first world champion because I think that is very worth mentioning.
100%. Yeah, I felt exactly the same way. I'm like, oh great. They're recognizing her
Yeah.
for her achievements previously. Are there any other key moments throughout the course of the event that are worth talking about, Kathi?
Yes, I have one special memory that's not competition related at all. But there was the mascot meetup, and Anime from Switzerland, like Puzzle Unicorn, brought her unicorn costumes. And I was just chilling at the dome this day. I sat in the sun and it was so hot, and I thought, you know what? I want to get in that hot costume and like sweat even more. And then Anime and I were just like walking around the dome in these costumes and then doing jumping jacks and push ups and going completely crazy and like walking around barefoot and burning our feet. And it was so crazy, but we had so much fun. And like, that was a very special thing to like, you wouldn't do that with random people outside such a special community.
Mhm.
I really love that.
Kathi, thank you for coming and joining us for the second annual World's Wrap. It has been a pleasure to talk to you as always. Obviously, we wish you luck, but I wish that you will come back next year and join us again for the third annual World's Wrap.
It's been a pleasure. It will be my pleasure to come back. Thank you.
You can find Kathi on Instagram at kathi.puzzles. And you can find Evie at Puzzle Free or Die. Thanks for listening to Peace Talks. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at peace_talks, and you can send email to peacetalkscast@gmail.com.